The BumbleKast is for entertainment purposes only. The host's comments and opinions, and those of their guests, are wholly their own and do not represent that of any other entity. Content is provided as is, with no guarantees of accuracy or timeliness. Unauthorized redistribution or editing of the BumbleKast in whole or in part is strictly prohibited.
It's a BumbleKast Mini, sponsored by Chaos Sonic 1.
All these questions come to us from the CEO of Destructix on Twitter. So there can be a lot of questions about the Destructix. Considering the Raiju clan was now a part of the Eggman Empire, would Lightning still get revenge against Conquering Storm for banishing him from the clan? If so, how would that happen?
Gosh, it's been so long.
I know, it's hard to bring this back up. Like, boy, this has been the buried secret knowledge.
I can see it going a few ways. I mean, he could directly strike at them and make an enemy of the Eggman Empire by proxy. Or you could get maybe a standalone story where he's finally infiltrated the base and confronts Conquering Storm, and she's expecting him to go for revenge, and he says, "What you have done to this clan is worse than anything I could do to you. I'm just going to let you suffer with the bed you made yourself lie in." And let him walk away with the dignity.
Yeah.
I kind of like that one a little better off the top of my head there.
How would an encounter between the Deadly Four, Ruff, Tumble, Zavok, and Mimic, and the Destructix be like?
Confrontational, I would imagine. But why? Why would they necessarily be opposed to one another? Unless they're going after the same mark or same territory or whatever reason. And this is speaking as someone who wanted the Destructix to be a more serious force, someone who could go toe to toe with the Chaotix. They're getting stomped. Maybe not stomped, but they're not going to win that fight because Zavok alone is kind of a powerhouse, and then you add Mimic in there to sow confusion, and Ruff and Tumble are capable enough that I don't think the Destructix are going to be able to come out on top on that one.
What were your plans for Scourge's revenge tour against Sonic now that he was with Fiona and the Destructix?
Want to save that for Lost Hedgehog Tales when it comes out one day before the heat death of the universe. Suffice to say, it would be going back to Anti-Mobius first and kind of going a little beyond crazy.
What would an alliance between Snively and Starline be like?
Delightful. Because I think they would figure out pretty quickly where their true allegiances lied.
Yes.
That Snively was only using Eggman to further himself, and Starline, well, frustrations aside, is still 100% loyal to Eggman. So they're both going to be undercutting and backstabbing each other while also trying not to throw off Eggman's plans, because if they do that, they fail.
Yeah.
So they have to keep propping him up while also trying to take each other out, while also not pissing off Eggman, but also not playing their hand too far.
Yeah, that's a careful balancing act.
Anytime Starline's like trying to point out an error on Eggman's part, Snively uses that as pretense for, clearly he's trying to betray you. Yeah. Starline's just like glaring at him. It'd be fun.
What would Dr. Finitivus do when he realized that Scourge turned his back on him?
I don't know if he'd have time to notice since he turned his back first.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any loyalty expected on Finitivus's part. He's using everybody. And if Scourge goes off script, well, that's a variable he failed to account for.
Yeah.
Maybe he opens up a warp ring and sends him off a cliff.
Who would win in an arm wrestling match between Bark and Behringer? Or between Bark and Sergeant Simeon?
Just imagining a little peanut-sized classic Behringer. All Bark has to do is like flex and he's gone flying. Simeon, I would imagine, would be a much harder struggle, but I'm going to just play favorites and give it to Bark on this.
Yeah. I think they mean more the Archie version of Behringer, not,
Oh, right.
Not the Sky Patrol version.
It's not nearly as funny.
I know. But still, why not both?
Yeah. Archie Behringer, I imagine, would struggle a little bit, but Bark's going to beat him.
Yeah.
Bark is best boy.
Yep. Are Rough and Tumble being paid by Clutch to do his dirty deeds? If so, what do they do with the money?
Avoiding the greater discussion of money within the Sonic universe, I imagine they're being compensated for their work, and they're blowing that compensation in all the stupidest ways.
I figured they'd just eat it.
As in,
like, eat the money.
All the takeout, or actually eat
eat the money. Why pay for that when they could just eat the money? Eat the compensation. Eat the money.
You know what? I don't have any room to argue that. So yeah, okay.
They argue about what to eat, then they just start eating the money.
Clutch doesn't understand how they aren't able to, make that paycheck stretch out a little longer. It's like, well, it's just one piece of paper. And he just kind of shakes his head. And it's like, well, they're not cashing the checks, so I might as well just keep them going.
Those boys ain't too bright. For the other 3 Ixian sorcerers of Mogul's 4 elite, the one that includes Ixis Vale in the past, what would their name, species, and gender be? Or is that a contender for Lost Hedgehog Tales?
I'm going to pass the buck and say Lost Hedgehog Tales because I have no idea. I don't remember. I want to say it would have been animals themed to the elements.
Mm-hmm.
And do a male, female thing just to even it out. But I don't know if we had anything written down. I'm sure I could make something up, but I honestly don't remember if we had any plans to explore that or actually set that in stone.
Well, dang. Say if Archie got the right to use Ebony the cat from Fleetway, would she be a former Ixian mage or something to fight against them?
I'm not super familiar with Ebony, but I don't know. I would want to look into her character and the nature of her magic. I'm assuming she's magical. And seeing if it would make sense to tie her to Ixian magic or just let her be her own character with her own abilities. I mean, like, Merlin didn't have Ixian magic. He was just a magic dude by himself. Maybe she can do that too. I don't know.
Yeah. Ebony is, she's a magician, magic user, mage type. So that would make sense.
Maybe have her be a student of Merlin. I don't know.
What would the anti-versions of Mogul, Sergeant Simeon, Predator Hawk, Lightning Lynx, and Flying Frog be?
Well, Mogul is perpetually poisoned by a piece of Anarchy Barrel that still keeps him alive, but is also, like, debilitating. If he ever lost it, he would just, like, turn to dust. Mm-hmm. So he's immortal as long as he doesn't remove the immortality rock. And that sense of mortality has made him extremely altruistic, and he's doing everything he can to help those around him as a benevolent benefactor. Sergeant Simeon is going to be... What's the opposite of a sergeant? Not just in rank, but like thematically. Now we'll call him Simple Simeon because he doesn't get into that whole rigid military life, man. He just kind of takes life as it goes, and he's working with this Mogul guy to like make things better for like everybody in their own way.
Man, he's just Funky Kong, man.
There you go. We're not going to call him Prey Hawk. That's wrong. Protector Hawk. There you go. Someone who patrols looking out for those in need and helps them out. Lightning Lynx. Call him Thundercat.
You went there. You went there.
Let's see. Who was actually a reasonably devoted member of the Raiju clan instead of a simp for conquering Storm. Very respectful.
I mean, who wouldn't simp for conquering Storm, to be fair?
But because he was so respectful and actually honorable, he still got booted out of the clan. And now he's just trying to uphold their principles on his own. And Flying Frog...
Leaping Lizard.
I'll just call him Flippy.
Okay, fine.
And he's still just cuckoo bananas, but in like a charmingly aloof sort of way.
Kind of like Bean without the bombs.
Yeah, and the murder.
Oh, well. I guess if we're talking RGB, yeah, murder.
No, Flying Frog was a homicidal maniac.
Oh, right. Okay. Bean is not. Well, I mean, Bean throws bombs. Bombs are kind of murderous.
Yeah, not his, though.
But
They're more of a nuisance.
I suppose that's true. All right, on that note, I think we're done here.
Thank you to Chaos Sonic 1 for sponsoring this BumbleKast Mini. If you want one of your own, head over to patreon.com/BumbleKast, ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or become a YouTube member. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Catch you later.